Dear students, let us begin with the second part of the lesson on China's stand on India in the Indo-Pacific, in which we will continue to learn about India's presence in the Indo-Pacific and India as a part of Quad. India has been involved in the Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic initiative and the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. The BIMSTEC, which was founded in 1997, was lying in a declining state until India organized a BRICS BIMSTEC Outreach Summit in 2016 in Goa. Important issues of counter-terrorism, climate change, people-to-people contact and poverty alleviation were discussed at the summit. Since then, BIMSTEC has been able to maintain some degree of momentum in its outreach, such as organizing disaster management exercises, founding of a Center for Weather and Climate Study in New Delhi, and gearing efforts towards the formation of a BIMSTEC FTA. In the sphere of connectivity, the outreach outcome document noted the need to advance multimodal physical connectivity in the sub-region. A 16-point agenda of action was agreed upon, which included preparing a master plan for BIMSTEC connectivity. Towards that end, the drawing up of a BIMSTEC Motor Vehicles Act and a BIMSTEC Coastal Shipping Agreement are vital. The India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway and the Kaladan Multimodal Transport Connectivity Project are the twin infrastructure development projects that have been taken up under the auspices of the BIMSTEC. Both the projects have been declared as nearing completion and are expected to become fully operational very soon. These projects are expected to bring the Southeast Asian and the Bay of Bengal region closer to each other. The SAARC has been living a handicapped existence almost since its inception in 1985 due to persistent Indo-Pakistan differences on several issues. However, post the terrorist attack on the Indian base camp in Uri in 2016 by terrorists allegedly based in Pakistan, India had refused to participate in the then annual SAARC meeting, which was supposed to take place in Islamabad. Since then, SAARC has been with no regular meetings, as India demanded that the terrorists be brought to book. Pakistan refused that it had ever harbored the terrorists. In the wake of the COVID-19 crisis, the Indian leadership under Prime Minister Narendra Modi convened the SAARC in 2020 to ensure collective efforts at combating the health crisis that had been ravaging the world. The meeting had proven successful and all member countries made voluntary financial contributions in accordance with their respective capacities to establish a COVID fund for tackling the health crisis. India emerged as the first responder and the largest donor. Furthermore, India has been a forerunner of vaccine diplomacy, and its role of supplying vaccines to South Asian countries has been pronounced. India launched the Vaccine Maitri initiative in January 2021, under which vaccines were exported to other South Asian countries. However, the exporting had to halt sometime in May-June 2021, when India itself was engulfed in the deadly second wave of the pandemic. Resumption in exports have begun with the first consignment delivered for the countries of Iran, Bangladesh, Nepal and Myanmar. India's engagements with the Indo-Pacific region have been extensive, especially in the recent past. Post the COVID-19 pandemic, India has donated more than 6.64 crore vaccines to around 95 countries despite its own people's suffering. India has also signed several advanced logistical agreements with the US, namely the Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, the Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement, the Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement for Geospatial Cooperation. Under these agreements, India has been able to access sophisticated high-tech equipment to gather data in real time as maritime intelligence. This signifies a great deal of strategic trust between the two actors, that are India and the United States, in the Indo-Pacific region to enhance interoperability between their armed forces, especially between the naval forces as and when required. However, even with such advanced facilities at its disposal, India has fallen short of acquiring a pan-regional outlook. India should link its IFPGW with the regional maritime data centers at Madagascar and Seychelles to enable them to take advantage of India's advanced geospatial satellite imagery to undertake maritime patrolling, especially at critical choke points such as the Gulf of Aden and the Bab el Mandeb. The IORA should be very active in the Indian Ocean region. It can bring the resident countries closer to one another through greater economic exchanges, maritime security initiatives and cultural engagements. Greater integration in the Indian Ocean region will place increased credibility in India's ability to play a key role in the Indo-Pacific region. Let us discuss about India's role in Quad. Quadrilateral security dialogue is known as the Quad. It consists of 4 democracies and maritime powers such as India, US, Australia and Japan. Quad started in 2004 and it was in cold storage since 2007 and it resurfaced in 2017. In 2006, the US suggested that the 4 democracies must have a consultative regional forum to deal with maritime emergence and security threats such as piracy. It would not take a military dimension, but be a regional consultative forum. Free and open, prosperous, peaceful and inclusive Indo-Pacific requires a vision in terms of its economic linkages and connectivity. In November 2007, under Kevin Rudd, Labour Party backed out of the Quad. During 2007 to 2017, China's rising military posture over Taiwan, China-US military rivalry in the South China Sea, China's double-digit economic growth and simultaneous growth in military budgets encouraged the Quad member countries to revive Quad. Thus, it was revived in November 2017 after a decade of inactivity. Besides, bilateral relations between India, Australia and India, Japan had improved. Quad is formed with a view to maintain a free and open, prosperous and peaceful region. However, it does not seem to have a vision for regional connectivity. The region's future needs to be focused, and merely countering China's expansion would not be sufficient evidence. It is important to focus on how rules-based order can be achieved when the major countries do not comply with the UNCLOS 3 rules in anarchy. Notion of a free and open, prosperous, peaceful and inclusive Indo-Pacific requires a vision in terms of its economic linkages and connectivity. India emphasizes the Quad more as a strategic proposition at present, which could possibly become a platform to address the rising power asymmetry in Asia. China's emergence more as a revisionist power has influenced India's strategic interest in the Indo-Pacific region. Quad does not guarantee India's security against China against the backdrop of any anticipated border conflict or eventuality. India's security interest cannot be protected under the Quad mechanisms, as no Quad member country has taken an open stand on the boundary dispute and supported India's case against China. The Doklam border standoff may be taken as an example where the United States urged both India and China to resolve the 73 days long standoff through bilateral dialogue. Australia expressed that peace must be restored and tensions should not be escalated. Japan too, though somewhat bold and eloquent, stated that the border standoff should not change the status quo of the boundary dispute and must be resolved peacefully. These perspectives sufficiently indicate that none of the Quad countries is currently willing to take a position which might irritate China. India enhances the spirit of inclusivity in the region through association with the Quad. India reiterated the centrality of the Act East policy in the Indo-Pacific and advocated a free, open, prosperous and inclusive Indo-Pacific. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Shangri-La dialogue on 1st June 2018 stated that India does not see the Indo-Pacific as a strategy or as a club of limited members, and by no means do we consider it as directed against any country. He categorically stated that there is no initiative to work against any country, including China, and his speech endorsed China and Russia as partners in the Indo-Pacific configuration. India took a decision not to be a direct part of the US-led trilateral initiative involving Japan and Australia in the Indo-Pacific Business Forum, which will act as a counterweight to China's infrastructure projects. Quad was more about sharing democratic experiences than security arrangements directed at China. Speaking at the Shangri-La dialogue, Narendra Modi called for the Indo-Pacific region to embrace freedom of navigation and flight, territorial integrity and respect for all nations regardless of their size. India's approach to the Quad should not be construed as an anti-China proposition. India is aligning with like-minded countries without alliance. All three countries expect India to play a constructive and crucial role in shaping the Quad. I hope you understood what was discussed about India's presence in the Indo-Pacific and India as a part of Quad. We will discuss about China's stand on the Indo-Pacific in the next video. Thank you.